Per la Fiera Gallo, raccontata da Laura Mariani. La Fiera Gallo è nata a Roma il 1° ottobre 1943 ed è morta a Roma il 20 agosto 2006. Del 1967 dagli anni 60 del Novecento conquistavano la scena ufficiale e si battevano tutti per diversi. A Ivrea, Leo e Pella si trovarono schierati con Carmelo Bene, Carlo Martucci, Mario Ricci, artisti uniti dalla volontà di rinnovare in profondità il linguaggio e il sistema teatrale. L'ultima sera del convegno, il 12 giugno del 1967, fu presentato alla faticosa messicena di Oneri, un moneto sovvertitore che distruggeva il testo per restituirlo potenziato dalle invenzioni musicali e vocali, visive e cinematografiche.
L'era del Belarusini e Carla Carrelli rappresentano una coppia di teatro anticaduto anomala della vanguardia italiana, alla continua ricerca di una identità popolare che non corrisponda alla immaginazione che si sonisce. Il loro primo spettacolo, la faticosa messa in scena della Loretta di Shakespeare, è del 1900. Questo.
Ursprünglich externe Arbeitslager und man kann nicht mithelfen. Ja, na toll.
Stella è molto presente nelle monografie dedicate a lei. Lei potrebbe essere altrimenti, ma a lei è stato dedicato solo un libro, scritto nel 2002 da Maximiliano La Monica. Ma se non scema l'interesse per lei, è cresciuto quello per Stella, insieme alla consapevolezza della sua eccezionalità e del suo ruolo magistrale. E se esistono
spero che non siano tanti, insomma, spero non siano una decina.
Oda szállám, ám feltétlenül ninja elvári generate.
Italiener. Englisch, aber es klingt italienisch. So anstrengend. Und immer so.
Questo cosa significa che rumore è oltre la mia voce?
Poi magari a giugno riaprono anche un po' le cose, forse libero poi di un posto, la mia ex compagnia di corso.
Anche la mia
Good afternoon. Welcome back to the second part of the Progireg midterm conference. And I am here this afternoon with my dear colleague Laura, our technical manager. Good afternoon, Laura.
Good afternoon, everyone.
So if you remember, this morning we began our trip to Mirafiori South, where we visited the Cairoli School, Orto Wow, and Casa del Parco. So now we have here the main protagonist of this bike ride into Mirafiori South. Laura, do you want to comment somehow this morning trip, or do you want to announce what our guests will visit soon after this introduction?
Today we will go on Sangone River. You know, Elena, that Sangone River in last century was also a place for leisure. Beaches of Sangone were very used by citizens. And now with Progireg also, we are starting to use more also for leisure. And you will see also some guests from the history of the district in this documentary today, in this afternoon.
Great, I'm more than curious, and I guess that also our remote visitors will be happy to see more about this. So thank you for this. And now I think we are a little bit asleep, so maybe some ice breaking can help us in going on. If you remember this morning, you have already participated to a very quick Mentimer, where we asked you to qualify Torino with some keywords. So I would ask to Mattia if you can put the photo of the results so that we can comment it. We asked you a first idea what you associate to the city of Torino, and it is interesting to view it together. Somebody spoke about football, somebody about industrial heritage, Fiat. Somebody recognized Torino as an innovative city.
Also about Olympics, if I remember well.
Yeah, also Olympics. So here it is. You can see it, industry, football, food, innovation, and so on. So now I would invite you to do another Mentimer that now that you know better Mirafiori South, we would like to ask you to find the best claim for the district, for Mirafiori South, the venue of our Living Lab. The claim that up to you fits better with what you have seen today. And so I would ask to launch the second Mentimeter for all our participants. You should find it into the chat, I guess.
Okay, super. Audio connection.
You will find different choices. We will ask you to choose between the claim Mirafiori from gray to green, or Mirafiori social green, or Mirafiori nature, culture, community, or last, Mirafiori means admire nature. So please take your choice, and then we will comment it together. And if you have any other ideas, please put it into the chat, and maybe we will come out with new ideas for our claim.
it could be very creative also. I have other claims to propose. But now we have the Mentimeter, you can vote.
Laura, which is the claim that you prefer?
I don't want
to influence our audience.
Yeah.
Okay. I always prefer the first because I really think to Mirafiori from its shift from industry to green, but you're right. Do not influence the audience.
Also look at nature as something to do with the meaning of Mirafiori.
Ah, okay. But you have something in mind and you will explain it afterwards, is that right?
Right. Maybe the first is the preferred by our audience.
It seems that Mirafiori from gray to green is winning. So also Progireg in this really helped. One of the aim of Progireg is really to intervene in post-industrial areas in transforming them from gray to green. So also our audience is voting for this vision. Yes, it is definitely the claim who. The winner is Mirafiori from gray to green. We have the claim. Okay. And now let's start again our trip. We should have remotely today Paola Zitella from Environment Park. And we would like to introduce together a peculiar NBS for Torino, which is called the New Soil. It is peculiar because it is something which is tested and co-developed only in Torino by now. And by new soil, we mean reconverted soil from excavation. And so today we will introduce some new concepts related to circular solutions and public-private partnership. So any comments, Paola, before starting the new trip?
Good afternoon to everyone. Can you hear me properly?
Come.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
So to excellent organization and also for my.
The audio is not very good, Paola. If you can try to be nearby the microphone.
I try to be loud. Okay. I think that new Turin represents a unique experience, framework of a project. In fact, in Turin, of quarry material, compost, daylights, and mycorrhiza was implemented in Mirafiori on a rather large area already 1 year ago, and which was the challenge since the beginning of this shared journey. It was clear that teamwork was needed. The ecological concept of new soil, a mixture of components, waste, and bioproducts, was born during some first meeting organized by the city of Turin. These meetings were...
Please go on. Yeah.
You can't hear me?
Younger. Yes, we hear you. Sorry. Go on.
Okay. And during these meetings, there were brainstorming among different operators with multidisciplinary skills, nurserymen, engineers, quarry operators, policymakers, agronomists, and of course the city authority. And operate together with the aim to find the best solution, waste exploitation, and for soil protection. Soil, as it can be seen today in Turin, Belarusini area, represents a first in-kind application of this MBS for concept and also for composition. There were some previous experience that allowed to start from useful information from botanical point of view. but with application new soil.
Okay, thank you, Paola. We hear you not very well, so I would advise to launch the next.
Okay, I'm sorry for this. I don't know why.
Okay, thank you very much. And let's begin the trip again. So let's go with the video. Thanks.
And here we are at new soil site. When the city needs to create a new park, needs fertile soil to put on the ground, where to take it from countryside with economical and ecological costs. In this way, we are trying to close the loop with the soil from deep excavation.
Le terre rocce da scavo sono sempre state un grosso problema, un po' per tutte le età, ma soprattutto in questo ultimo periodo perché ce n'è veramente tante e venivano sempre solamente usate come opere di scarica. Invece opportunamente lavorate, miscelate con i dovuti prodotti possono essere riutilizzate in ambito ambientale per ricreare terreni ambientali, vegetali, eccetera. Di conseguenza abbiamo creato una nuova società agricola, io e i miei due soci, tra cui un giovane, Luca Zottarelli, e abbiamo potuto realizzare questo parco alle mie spalle.
The new soil is an artificial soil composed of 4 elements combined all together. The first one, the main one, is the soil. Then we have organic fertilizer, we have bacteria, and also a mineral from the zeolite family. The main characteristic of this soil is that this soil is a regenerated one. Best that it has its origin from land and rocks excavation.
A strategic ingredient for the new soil used in Mirafiori area is the compost produced by Acea from the treatment of both organic and green waste from the Urba separate collection. Acea is very interested in the exploitations of the Progireg project because it is a great opportunity for finding new and eco-friendly opportunities for the valorization of compost.
So microorganisms are essential for all living organisms and for the life on Earth. Without them, it's impossible to survive. In this project, we implement a specific and innovative consortium of microorganisms that can begin to restore and promote the biodiversity of treated soil.
The experimental urban forest was designed with the aim of assessing the adaptability of ornamental plant species to grow in the new soil. 75 trees and 75 shrubs were planted in November 2019. The study site is divided into 2 different areas. An experimental area of 1,200 square meters in which a stratum of up to 90 centimeters of new soil was located, and a control area of 300 square meters characterized by the original soil. The growth of the species was monitored by analyzing biometric parameters, including plant height and diameter at breast height. In addition, in collaboration with the National Research Council, we collect leaf samples that are analyzed to understand the potential of the selected species to retain pollutants.
Within the Progireg project, the Department of Chemistry, in collaboration with the Department of Agricultural, Forest and Food Sciences, deals with collecting soil and mix new soil samples at the site of testing during the world period of the project, with the aim to determine the chemical physical parameters and to evaluate the variability over time.
Here we have an example of MBS 7 in Torino. Some private companies sponsoring the planting of the trees.
Okay, here we are. In the video, we were at Parco Sangone and nearby. So, as you have seen in this intervention, really different actors work together: the university, industry, a startup, dual, and the environment park, all together to co-design, test, and really launch a new product. So we have remotely here Federico Beninati from Dual, and also Professor Federica Larcher and still Paola Zitella. Federico, I begin with you. What is the future on the market for new soil?
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly. Welcome.
Okay, fine. Well, as told in the video, the new soil is becoming a big opportunity for the city of Torino and also for my company. After the realization of the green area along the Sangone River, we have focused our attention on the ability of the new soil to be adapted to the specific requirement of the and in this way, so we have been able to provide a lot of new soil for different places in the city of Torino and the Erne city. Above all, we have concentrated on the green areas and the capping of the dumps. The most important places where we have supplied this material are the Parco Pellerina and the Parco Dora, which are two parks located north of the city of Torino. And we have also supplied this material for some waste dump. We have provided for the Amiat dump in Torino, the dump for waste containing asbestos of Balangero. And we have also in program a very important supply of new soil for the capping of the Chivasso dump. Chivasso is a city near Turin. So, as you can see, the new soil is becoming a valid alternative to the natural soil. And we think that for parks and green areas, it can be a good way for the future.
Thank you, Federico. And these are very good news because, as we said before, the product was born as a concept of the project, has been tested, and now we are already into the phase of scaling. So really good news, and also congratulations for the work that you have carried out all together, really in the spirit of the Living Lab. And now, Federica, of course, we have seen that this area is already very green. So how is it important, the choice of the plants, also considering the context of the climate change? Yes, thank you, Elena, and good afternoon, everybody. So welcome you in Turin, and these fantastic videos I see the first time now, so very congratulations. Yes, of course, you know, this for us an experiment, a trial, a research trial, and in this new soil, we would like to put really high attention on the plant choice. So these are green public parks. So the first element for us was to put attention to use and to create green areas with low maintenance costs and low maintenance needs, firstly. But usually administrations and also Turin use always the same plant species, the plants they know well and they can manage well. So in this occasion of the Progireg trial, we would like to use both traditional plant species but also new specimens that can be much more adaptable to the new challenges that we have to solve in the new millennium. So, for example, in thinking about climate change, you know that also in Turin we have even more dry and hot summer, for example. So we need species with much more Mediterranean characteristics, species that are drought tolerant, and so we try to mix all the new species and to find if they are able to grow in this new soil. So this is our challenge, and the occasion of this NBS can be really useful also for science and for the city to know what is much more adapt to grow in the city. Also for your work, which proved to be transversal to different activities and MBS across all the Living Lab. Okay, any other comments, Laura, or we can?
It was also a challenge to work all together. So different people, different background, yes, from each. And we work very well together, and they are all very enthusiastic. And then it was a good start, and it's really enthusiasm. It's really a good experience work with them all together.
Great. So thank you all, and we will see very soon. Okay, so we can.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you, Federico, and Paola.
Thank you.
Okay. So now I'm happy to introduce a short video which will introduce a dialogue about one of the main activities of Progireg, which is promoting knowledge sharing between frontrunner cities and follower cities, and to help all of us, but especially follower cities, to plan NBS for the future. And to lead this dialogue, we have today Emilia Budau from Urban Sofia, who is a partner who is leading these activities of knowledge sharing among cities. And Emilia will discuss this issue of planning NBS with Simone Mangili, staff to Turin Deputy Major for Environment. So good afternoon, everyone. Emilia. Hi.
Hello, everyone.
Hi. Good afternoon, Simone. Are you also there? Still not. Okay, we can begin with the video. and then the floor is yours. Okay, Emilia, here we are. I still don't see Simone, but if you want Emilia to introduce this activity within Progireg about knowledge sharing and the support to planning for NBS, you are welcome.
Sure. Okay, so thank you for the very nice introduction. As you anticipated, I work for Urba Sofia, which is an urban planning company based in Bucharest, in Romania. And within Progireg project, we have this important and role and this pleasure of supporting and guiding the follower cities of Cascais, Cluj, Piros, and Zenica in their replication path through the creation of a tailor-made strategies, in particular, an urban plan that can. Okay, I can see Simone, I think. Okay, so as I was saying, in particular, we are supporting them in the creation of tailor-made strategies of an urban plan that can further support the integration of the nature-based solutions into their local policy and planning framework. And yes, Follower City has the opportunity to elaborate scenarios for the achievement of the vision of a more green and environmental friendly city. And I think it's really important for them to have good examples from front-runner cities, and in particular from touring in this case. We already saw something from the really nice video Simone shared with us before. And I think he's the right person to talk a little bit more about this vision to a more green transition, and about the planning, urban planning framework. So, Simone, if you are with us.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
No,
not really.
Yeah. Fortunately, I can't seem to get my video on.
Ja. Und URL, und dann zieht sich auch das Bild von der URL. Ja. Das hat bei mir beim Rechner so geklappt, weil ich war auch so.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So I'm happy to share a little bit about Turin's experience with planning for the ecological transition and for a more resilient city. I think that starts with an overall framework, a vision 2030 that essentially envisions the city of Turin as a sustainable and resilient city, one capable of balancing the social and economic and environmental dimensions of urban development, adapting to constantly evolving global and local forces, and anticipating structural shifts and preparing for external shocks. That's exactly what the Turin 2030 action plan attempts to do, to lay the framework for the city's development in the next 10 years with about 30 strategic projects. The plan is articulated in four main principles and core values around participatory engagement of citizenship, around a dynamic city with full of opportunity and innovation and rich with culture, a livable city that's a green city and a clean and safe and healthy city, and a just city, one that looks out for and guarantees the rights of all citizens. Within that framework, the city of Turin, in the livable city, let's say, the city of Turin has developed a number of planning instruments that essentially look to build resiliency through green infrastructure. The overarching green infrastructure plan that was just recently approved is called the Strategic Green Infrastructure Plan, and it looks at how to essentially optimize and maximize our green infrastructure, our stock, let's say, of natural resources in the city over the next decades, to essentially maximize ecosystem services, both the regulatory kind and the social kind. Our climate resiliency plan goes a step further to actually develop all of the actions that the city needs to undertake in the next decade to essentially prepare for the climate scenarios that we know are already changing and affecting us in myriad ways, and the actions therein are also heavily focused on developing green infrastructure and nature-based solutions. Finally, we have a third planning instrument, which was recently approved in the city, which is the Sustainable Urban Forest Management Plan. We are quite lucky to have an urban forest in the eastern hills of our city, and managing those forests to, again, maximize ecosystem services is a key strategy to creating that resilient and sustainable city. And the core sort of the intersection of all these plans is exactly this question of ecosystem services, optimizing, maximizing those ecosystem services depending on the particular characteristics of each area. And all three of the plans essentially take a very strong focus on how to achieve that.
Thank you, Simone, very much for this short but really nice introduction of the Turin's urban planning framework. And I wonder if you can give some advices or recommendation to follower cities in regards with I don't know, maybe you face some issues or challenges related to this green transition and of integration of nature-based solutions into the local framework. So if you have some advices or recommendations.
Sure, absolutely. I would say that it begins with sort of the overarching challenge is really developing a culture around the ecological transition, around resiliency, and embedding the values and the goals within the work of the administration and the stakeholders in the territory. And this takes time. It takes dedicating resources and time to build that awareness of the challenges facing us in terms of the environmental and climate crises, and in developing ownership in the strategies and actions that we've developed. And I think that's been a key one of the strategies that we followed in doing so, especially with regards to the administration itself, is really engaging all of the departments in the city in developing these strategies. And we very much intended to build ownership and to build awareness through the development of these planning instruments, and working across departments, which are often siloed. So it also takes, I'd say, the other big challenge is investing in coordination across different sectors of the city that are used to working in some ways focusing on their own specific issues and services, but really it's when we begin to build a collaborative working environment that we can begin to develop effective cross-sector solutions that last in time. So that coordination is both a challenge but also a key piece of it. And I think a couple final thoughts: empowering administrators and professionals with the tools they need to innovate in terms of developing nature-based solutions. I think that's also a major challenge. Sometimes we're so focused on the day-to-day that we forget the need to invest in capacity building and in professional development to really update, let's say, our palette of tools and design capabilities. And finally, I'd say really the sort of overarching challenge looking outside of the administration is really building awareness in the city among residents, getting the buy-in of stakeholders, and really looking for ways to engage people and stakeholders in understanding the role of nature-based solutions and understanding how these fit into the solutions for a more livable city, and how therefore we can weigh the competing interests on public spaces against the sort of critical questions that we have to address through green infrastructure and nature-based solutions.
Thank you, Simone. I think we can write them down and pass to the follower cities to follow for sure. Thank you.
Okay, welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you both for this interesting dialogue, which is really an example of what we are doing normally within the project. So sharing knowledge and confront each other and learning from each other, like in the case for instance, for Turin, which in the relationship with other cities, for instance, with Dortmund about innovative technologies like aquaponics. So this is really an example of important cooperation among us and of really win-win situation, which help us into the process of capacity building, as it was underlined by Simone as one of the key factors for planning NBS for the future. So thank you again. And now we continue with our trip. So follow us. So now we will reach another location in Mirafiori. We will reach Mirafiori Castle and Mausoleo della Belarusini. I do not want to see anything before because my colleagues and the video will tell you more. But what we will discover here, we will discover the link between nature and cultural heritage. So how nature can reduce the distances in culture and in history. So let's start with the next video.
Il comitato Borgata ha avuto l'intuizione di far scoprire questo pezzo del quartiere molto importante che era rimasto dimenticato per decine d'anni. Prima era inglobato all'interno degli orti abusivi e dopo la riqualificazione avvenuta 10 anni fa sono scoperti i resti delle rovine del castello. Questo intervento alle rovine vuole rendere omaggio al giardino del castello di Mirafiori attraverso una soluzione basata unicamente con degli elementi vegetali. Si vuole omaggiare i giardini del castello. Guardando i resti delle rovine, in corrispondenza dello stacco della terrazza che collegava il castello al giardino basso, si trovavano 3 viali. Questi viali dividevano i bosquet dal parterre e i viali a destra lungo il parterre erano delimitati da una doppia fila di balaustre intervallate da dei vasi con i limoni. Questo intervento con le topiarie vogliono omaggiare questa conformazione con delle topiarie a forma di vaso sormontate da una sfera. Invece sulla sinistra c'è una semplice siepe lineare, quella che viene chiamata le siepi a palissade, che delimitava i boschetti che si trovavano alla destra del castello. Questa è un'iniziativa delle biblioteche civiche torinesi, finanziata da Progireg su desiderio del comitato Borgata di Mirafiori. È stato creato un roseto dedicato a delle scrittrici del Novecento. La selezione delle rose è stata fatta dalla vivaista e scrittrice Anna Peyron e la messa a dimora e cura delle rose dalla cooperativa I Passi.
Here again, Laura. So here we have seen how nature can help recreate the ancient landscape, and so to improve also the cultural knowledge in the area. But tell us something more. What is the history of the Mirafiori Castle, and what is the history of the Mausoleo della Belarusini?
Mirafiori Castle was built in the 16th century by the Duke of Savoia for his wife, who was Spanish. She was Caterina d'Asburgo, and it was called Mirafiori because in first years of her life, she was in a place in Spain called Miraflores, which means look at flowers. And then this castle gave the name to the district. And the Mausoleum of Belarusini is another story. At the end of the 19th century, it was a tomb for Belarusini. Belarusini is the name in which people called her. It means literally beautiful little rose. Her name was really Rosa Vercellana. She was the lover of the first king of Italy. She was his lover for all her life. And at the end of their life, she became her wife, but with a morganatic marriage. Then she couldn't be the queen. Then she couldn't be buried in Rome in the Pantheon with the king. Then her son and her daughter built for her this tomb that is a little copy of the Pantheon in Rome.
Great, Laura, thanks. So not only history, but also gossips in history within our Turin Life Lab.
Yes, we can ask to Netflix to do the Italian The Crown in Turin, maybe.
Yeah, great idea. I vote for it. Okay, so here we go with our last step today. I would ask to Federica Paradiso to join us. In this last step, we will reach Orti Generali, which is thought as a new place and a new way to do urban community gardening. We define it as a dream come true, and you will discover afterwards why. Hi, Federica. Hi. Thanks for being here. We will ask you to introduce briefly the transversal role of pollinators, species into the living lab, and the link with Orti Generali. And we also gathered a question this morning that we have here for you. I read it to be sure that I ask you the right thing. So did you observe which plant or plant combinations are most valuable for this aspect?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, Orti Generali, it's a very active place in which two different nature-based solutions grow and work together. Here you can find, of course, the community urban garden, but also it's the place in which we monitor pollinator biodiversity, and in particular, we monitor bees and butterfly. In the next video, also you can can see a brief experience from one user of the mental health center that will he will talk about another project involved in Progireg that's Farfallentur. Farfallentur, it's a peculiar project that combine the people who had mental or physical disability with butterfly conservation. So the aim is double in this case. Fight the social isolation, create so in this way social inclusion, and also protect butterflies.
And here is your map.
Yeah,
that we use to help understanding of the different species, and that there is a user using their experiences and help them in both do what we call citizen science from one side, but also to be more included into the community.
Yeah, this is our guide to recognize all butterfly species present in Cascina Piemonte, in Orti Generali, and also it's available online. If you want, you can find it. Thank you.
Okay.
For
And
the
about,
combination of plant and pollinator, we in general suggest to put in the balcony plant like thymus or Phoniculum vulgaris or lavender. So all plants that are aromatic plants that are more and butterfly adults use them to reach nectar, so for nectar source, and that's it. In general, we suggest this type of plants.
Okay, thank you very
so
much, Federica. And for the audience, of course, we still continue, keep gathering all your questions, and we will make available the answers through our website. And of course, we remain available to discuss more these issues with whom is interested. So now let's go with this last video, and I invite you to appreciate not only the place, not only the nature, but really the social experiment, and how different groups of people, even the weakest categories, really take benefit of nature in real. So let's go.
And this is Orti Generali, the dream of two guys who more than 10 years ago brought their thesis about this place, about an innovative business model on community gardening.
I'm glad to introduce you to our social beekeeping program here in Mirafiori Sud. As you know, Laura, we have a bunch of beekeepers who share space and area among the allotments here in Orti Generali, in Comunità I Passi, and in Orto Wow too. We share knowledge, skills, problem, solutions. We organize courses of beekeeping for beginners, for schools, family, and citizens. We also organize events for people, for families and citizens here in Mirafiori, walks around gardens and green area and green park of Mirafiori.
The association Orti Generali is an association that works on the urban requalification and transformation of public green areas. We are located in Parco Piemonte, which is in the district of Mirafiori Sud in Turin. And the aim of the association of this work is to foster social inclusion and also community building by using urban agriculture. At the moment, the team of Orti Generali is composed by Stefano and Matteo, me, which I'm Davide, and also Eleonora that works on the communication, and Giuseppe that works on the kiosk activities. Here we are in a public space, and we have in concession an area of 3 hectares. 2 hectares are used for urban gardening, and 1 other hectare is used for educational and training activities. The area in concession is managed only by the association. So in this way, the management of green areas is no longer a cost for the municipality. Instead, is a value for the city, gain value for the city. And for our economical sustainability, we have a different rents for citizens that would like to grow their own vegetables. We have 160 urban gardens of different sites. They are of 50, 75, and also 100 meters square large. And there are 3 different typology of allotment. We have social gardens for people that has in economic difficulties, so they pay a little fee in change of some hours of volunteering in the project. We have also a special rental price for under 35 people to encourage young people to come here and do agriculture. And then there is the standard fee, the standard price. At the moment, we have a huge waiting list of more than 150 people, citizens interested in urban garden and that are searching for allotment in the city.
As geographers, we are working on understanding how nature-based solution can play a role in changing post-industrial neighborhoods and areas of the city. And more specifically, we are working on how the most important green infrastructures here in Mirafiori, like the Sangone River, can change physically and symbolically this neighborhood and this part of the city, providing new functions and new public spaces like this one where we are shooting now. And moreover, we are focusing as a broader group of Food Atlas on how nature-based solutions can intersect food systems at different scales, from the global one, like for what concerns, for example, pollinators and their role in providing energy to food system by pollinating plants, but also at the neighborhood scale, because nature-based solution can become part of a more of a wider change of food systems also at the local scale.
In Progireg, I lead the nature-based solution number 8, which is dedicated to pollinators. I can say it's the most cross-cutting of the action. We work all together with the other partners, co-designing urban garden, school roof, taking into account many different needs, including the pollinator point of view, which is, of course, the point of view we are working for. One of the main good points of this nature-based solution is that in all this action, we engage citizens, we involve people, we include also disadvantaged people. And that means that the people, citizens, realize that pollinators are also in urban context, not only in the countryside, up to the mountain. And they start to take care of them. So we are monitoring pollinators, butterflies, wild bees, in order to offer other cities an example, suggestion for pollinators that are result-based, not only draw, but also monitoring in field.
today here in Orti Generali, we study the community of pollinator, bee and butterfly, and we use a standard design method in which we count the species of each pollinator group in a fixed and shared route. Here we count all the abundances, and also we identify all the species in order to understand how Orti Generali could affect the community of pollinator.
Sì, il progetto Farfallentura, sono entrato a conoscenza di questo progetto più di 4 anni fa, quindi sono un po' la memoria storica del progetto. Ecco. L'idea nasce da un medico in ambito ASL che ha pensato di rivolgersi alle farfalle proprio per far incontrare le farfalle e far incontrare le persone di conseguenza. Con il progetto che ho denominato Le farfalle vanno a scuola. Abbiamo coinvolto molti bambini interessatissimi, giocavano imparando, cioè il concetto fondamentale è creare una rete, quindi sviluppare il senso di mantenere in vita le farfalle attraverso una rete di piante nutrici e riproduttrici, biodiversità per la diversità. Ecco. Quindi poi il fatto che si sia rivolti anche a pazienti come me dei centri di salute mentale è importante, perché è stata un'esperienza molto formativa, molto terapeutica anche. Ecco. Cioè io mi sono trovato molto bene perché mi è servito soprattutto a socializzare, cioè al di là dell'interesse per le farfalle che c'è senz'altro, però è stato già anche un incontrarci tra di noi.
So I hope you enjoyed this last step in our Living Lab at Mirafiori South. Orti Generali is a wonderful place. It has become a new place for citizens, different citizens, not only humans, also pollinators. So it is really a place where a lot of things happen, and which is now able to attract people even from outside Torino. I personally don't live in Torino, but come really regularly at Orti Generali with my children. So Orti Generali is a place where we can enjoy gardening and nature really inside the city. But I have here with me Davide Di Nasso, welcome from Orti Generali.
Thank you, Elena.
And also from remotely we have Iva Bedenko from the frontrunner city Zagreb. And it is my pleasure to introduce really a brief debate among you about different models of urban gardening. And so the floor is yours.
Thank you. And hello, Eva, and hello to everyone.
Hello.
Yes. Hi, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. I think I can hear myself like double, like there's some sound. Okay, maybe it's better now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Since we have already listened something about Orti Generali, I would like to ask you, Eva, if you could say something about the concept behind the urban gardening in Zagreb. In this way, we could have a comparison and also see the different opportunities of urban gardening in cities. And also a second question, and I know that you already set up also a therapeutic garden. And so please, can you say something about this garden, this particular garden?
Okay, so first I would like to say something about the urban gardens in Zagreb. In Zagreb, the situation was there were large areas in the city which are planned for future developments, but at the moment they are underused or not used at all. So the city of Zagreb, together with some citizens' initiatives, has devised this idea of using that space for allotment gardens. And the business model is planned in a way that the land is used. It's like temporary use, but it can go for decades if the land is not used for its original planning use. And at the same time, it's a way of allowing the citizens, especially the socially vulnerable groups, to produce their own food, to grow their own vegetables and berries, herbs and flowers. So the business model is such that the city organizes those garden plots on 13 locations in the city. And the total number of garden plots is over 2,000. Every garden plot is 50 square meters, and it is issued to people who answer the public call. So I'm not sure about how many people are interested as opposed to how many get the plots, but the City Garden project is expanding all the time. So I guess there are a lot of people who are interested in that. And the criteria are mostly social. So families with many children, retired people, people who are users of social services all have an advantage in getting the garden plot. And when they are awarded the garden plot, then they sign a contract for 2 years, and which can of course be prolonged. So and of course it is completely free of charge for the people. So the city gives this initial investment in organizing those garden plots and organizing the common areas and storage facilities, water and everything. And after that, it's up to the citizens to sort of keep it in order. This project is going on since 2013, and it's quite successful. It will be going on further. So a couple of years ago, the City Office of Agriculture came up with the idea of making a therapeutic garden, which has originated from the initiative of the citizens who have asked if they can be, there can be a garden for people in wheelchairs or for children with disabilities. A therapeutic garden was planned to be built in another part of the city, but after the COVID crisis and after the earthquake that we had a year ago, the city budget was a bit shaken as well. So this has been postponed, but luckily we have included another therapeutic garden in through the Progireg project, which is under construction now. And next week we are going to have a meeting with this institution, a city organized institution that which is like a daycare center for children with disabilities, who will, it's called the Little Home, and they will organize the use of the garden. They will be sort of the middle person between the city and the users, and they will manage all the other organizations who will bring potential users there who work with people with autism, because south to the new garden is this new development, like a new housing development where there are 3 or 4 residential units with grown people with autism, where they lived under some sort of supervision. So we do not have the practical experience yet, but in a couple of months I will be able to tell you more about it. Right now it's in like high stage of preparation, and we are expecting it to be we're expecting the construction to be finished in about a month, and then maybe even earlier, and then I suppose that the users will come immediately, because there is a great interest in the use of the therapeutic garden.
So we will wait for some news. Yeah. There's is planned to be up to the association, the organization, the management of the activities with people with disabilities, or there's someone external that help them? You already plan it, or is up to the cooperatives or associations?
So this is what I just mentioned. There's this city-owned institution, Little Home. So it's a daycare center for children with disabilities. They were like the first stakeholder or first partner that we had. Actually, that City Office of Agriculture had for this activity, and then we talked to them, and then they have agreed to do the management of the everyday use of the garden. So I suppose there will be time slots that will be awarded to different institutions. I don't know yet in what way it will be organized, like in detail, but we are having a meeting next week to finalize this idea, because as I said already, the garden is almost done, so we have to have this defined as well.
Okay, thank you. It's clear. Yeah, thank you. I have another question. I don't know if there are some questions okay, from the web. No, okay.
I check, but please
okay.
go.
What are your strategy to encourage the creation of community between gardeners? Because there are a lot of gardens, as you said, and I imagine that it could be difficult to create a real community. How do that?
Well, actually, I don't know that much about it, but from what I know, because I work in the City Office of Strategic Planning, and this is organized by the City Office of Agriculture. But since we have been cooperating closely in the past 2 years, we found out that even though there's no official union of garden users, the people who those gardens are very much connected to the parts of the city, to the city district. So one of the criteria of obtaining a garden plot is the place of residence quite close to the garden. So those people are practically neighbors, and then they convene at the gardens. There are some, of course, before the COVID times, there were some sort of public events there, and educational events. So this is sort of a soft way to bring people together. There is no official organization connecting those citizens, but in this informal way, they are connecting with each other.
The citizens organize themselves, great. Yeah.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's great.
The city provides the space, the city provides this initial investment, and after that it's up to the citizens. But this gardening is, I have a feeling it's quite a social and together bringing activity. So this is how the people come together and work together, and also they own, not own, but they use land together. Everybody has their own piece of land, but they also have common parts of the garden. They have common storage, so it's also some sort of community practicing for the people.
Common objective, growing vegetables.
Exactly, and keeping all this, keeping the whole garden in good shape.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great. It was very interesting to listen to your dialogue, and Progireg is really also this. So also to compare different ways, different business models around common activities. So we have seen Orti Generali, which has a different business model, not city-led, but led by a private organization. So with lots which are given out with a sort of a price to different people, so not only for social purposes. and the model of Zagreb, where it is a city-led and where there is some sort of priority for disadvantaged people. So very interesting. This model of Zagreb is also carried out in Turin, where we have where we see living different models in urban gardening. So thank you both for your experiences and for being here. What you have told really sounds me a claim which I heard some years ago at one of the first European conferences about NBS, which was named The Right to the City. Nature really gives the right to the citizens to have the city healthy and to live places and to give back places, common places to the citizens, and more than this, to all citizens, so also the weakest categories. So thank you both for your work and for being here today.
Thank you, Elena. And thank you, Eva.
Thank you.
Thanks. And it was very quick, but we came to an end. So it is time to close our first day trip in Torino Mirafiori South Living Lab. We have discovered how nature can really, nature reintroduced into the city can really produce ecosystemic services, but we did not discover it theoretically, but we have seen it. And so we have discovered how nature can improve environmental conditions, of course, but can help produce foods for our communities, can help include all citizens into city life, and also create new economic and professional opportunities. It is not finished. Tomorrow we will continue our trip together. So let's update tomorrow, and we hope it was easy to follow and that you still have some curiosity about our Turin Living Lab Mirafiori South. Thank you a lot for your attention, and see you tomorrow.
Le nostre città hanno bisogno di verde, se restano grigie è proprio l'uomo che ci perde, per questo l'Europa ci dà soluzioni, sono 8 e van bene per tutte le stagioni, si ispirano alla natura e mite ci danno futuro e più cultura. Economia e società tutti insieme, ecco alcuni esempi, intoniamoli per bene, pareti e poi tetti coperti di fiori, insetti biodiversi che fanno da impollinatori, giardini, energia più